Good morning and welcome to beautiful Dade City, Florida. We are here at the Little Everglades Ranch for day 2 of Savage Race. Yesterday morning, we saw a pretty awesome race. Very wet conditions, very challenging course, flat course, but still managed to be challenging. And we saw a very interesting race play out on the men's and women's side. Today, we are here for the Savage Blitz, which is a 3-mile version of the standard Savage race. And while we wait for the course cameras to pop up, let's go over the results from yesterday. First off, on the men's side, we have Ken Carigliano. Ken is one of probably the second most decorated Savage racer of all time, and he played a comeback victory yesterday. Yesterday, he started the race off in second to third place, stayed there for a while, and then made a second half comeback, really made up a lot of time through the tricky wet obstacles, and then really put the hammer down to pull away and finish with a 1.5-minute victory in first place. Sean Roberts claiming his third or fourth podium of the year at Savage Race, third, I believe. He led the race. He was in second place until the end of the log carry, which is something we'll have to talk about in a few minutes here. Towards the end of that log carry, made a move, got up to the front, and then put his wheels to work. Pulled away, had a pretty good lead going for a while until the obstacle gauntlet started to chip into his lead a little bit. And then Daniel Martin, he was steady Eddie all day long. He was always in that fourth to fifth position. And then when mistakes were made by Alvaro, he moved up and moved into third place. Joseph Cotto in fourth, Alvaro Vasquez in fifth. Now, Alvaro had a tough day. He started off with a relatively commanding lead on the log carry, and towards the end of that, gave up a bit of that lead and was still running very strong in second to third place. And then on an obstacle where you were designed to go underneath the obstacle, he traversed it over the top. This saved him a lot of time. By all apparent appearances and course officials and his own admission, there was no malicious intent there. It was just a misunderstanding of the obstacle. But because there wasn't anyone able to get a hold of him in time, he ran another at least 200 or 300 meters before the lead vehicle was able to track him down, tell him what happened, and inform him that he was going to have to go back and recomplete the obstacle. So he lost a minimum of a quarter mile of running, plus obstacle redo time. And then you could just see that it just took the wind right out of his sails. That was pretty much the end of his race there, or so we thought. Suddenly we see him charging back and ended up taking fifth place, really only, 8 seconds out of fourth place and within shouting distance of third. He got hung up on the last rig, but up until that point, he was closing down and ran out of ground to take third place. Sixth place, Kevin Thompson. Seventh, Benny Gifford. Eighth, Yanuel Mendez. Ninth, Noel Medina. And 10th, Ben Rittenhouse. And then at the bottom of the screen there, you can see Chris Roglowski barely in 11th overall. She was the female overall winner and took almost top 10 in the race, men included. Switching over to the female side, Chris Roglowski, as we previously mentioned, was a dominant force. She had a 13-minute win and really never was challenged. Early on, she had a bit of company in the form of Rachel Carigliano, but that disappeared relatively quickly. Maybe 2 or 3 minutes into the initial log carry, she was by herself and just steadily pushed the lead over everyone in the field and got to the point where she was the only one there and then the only one who made it through every rig cleanly on the first attempt. And that led to a 13-minute win. Jamie Horianopoulos, she had the come from behind second place. She was the first person to get through both rigs after Chris. There was a big logjam of women sitting there at the rigs. They were very difficult. They were wet. You had to either lâcher or grip onto a skinny nunchuck, and that just proved to be extremely difficult for the men and the women with such a huge amount of dew, fog, mist, whatever you want to call it, slicking down the rigs. Plus, they were in and out of water all day long, which was one of the stories of the race. Rachel Waters, second woman through the rig, held on for third place. Then Jessica Shepard, Ashley Samples, Yaris Cruz, Brittany Martinez, Cassie Pritchard, Luella Valentova round out the top 10. Now, the story of the race came down to the water and the rigs. The race started out with a long preamble before the real racing began, and that was in the form of a really long log carry. We were up over a mile. For the second time this year, Savage Race started their race by picking up a log at the start, standing at the start line, and then the gun goes off and you go. So you had to start carrying the log, and right from the beginning, it changes the dynamic of how the runners versus the obstaclers would get out in the race. Once that mile plus was done, the race is already in a fatigue state, and then you were in and out of water, knee deep, waist deep. Chris Roglowski said it was up to her chest at one point. So that was just a broken running style of race. And then when you're getting that wet, it's almost impossible to keep your hands dry the entire time. At some point, they're going to get splashed or you're going to lose balance in the water and in the mud. And now the obstacles start to become a challenge. Savage always has challenging rigs and obstacles, but the technicality ramps up another notch as soon as you approach them wet. So yesterday, that was the story. It was who could get through the obstacles cleanly and on your first or second try. So today, when we're faced with the Blitz course, odds are it is going to be in worse condition than it was yesterday. You had hundreds of people go through, chew up the ground, stir up the muck. The water's not going to be as clean. It's going to be more slippery out there on the course. But now there's less running in between all the obstacles. This is just a 3-mile version of the full course. So you're going to still hit the vast majority of the big, exciting obstacles, but you're going to do it with less running in between. And so today puts an emphasis on obstacle proficiency. If the obstacles have dried out at all, it's going to be about risk taking and getting through fast. But if they haven't dried out, and if we're looking at another wet, exhausting, tricky obstacle setup, then it's going to be who can get through in the least number of attempts. And that makes for an exciting race. So we'll see who shows back up out of yesterday's pro field. And I think that it's going to open us up for a wide open podium. So in a few minutes here, the live coverage should be coming on down there from Dade City, Florida. Hopefully we have good coverage. Yesterday, the cameras worked very well. We had good footage. We really got to see a vast majority of the race outside of a few of the wooded sections, but we got a good sense of how the race played out. And with a shorter race, less disappearing into the woods, I'm excited to see a good chunk of the race play out again today. Again, I'm going to put up the results from yesterday, take a look at some of these graphics, and then we are going to get rolling here. We are still sitting here waiting for the live feed to come on from Dade City. They're down at the Little Everglades Ranch. It is a combination of a ranch and a bit of an equestrian center. So this race today, if you didn't tune in and watch yesterday, has a lot of grass running, but the main oval is a horse track. So you see a lot of grass, but the footing isn't necessarily ideal because the horse's hooves chewing it all up. Outside of the ranch or outside of that horse track area, there is a little bit of undulation. You don't see a ton of hills in Florida, but there's some short little ones here that do get used on course. They'll disappear off into the woods for a while. It gets some good, muddy, wet sections. And yesterday it really affected the race. Today we'll have racers coming back a little tired, a little beat up, but knowing every section of the course, knowing how much the rigs got to people yesterday. And we saw a struggle to get through both rigs, especially the second rig that had the Lachey option in there. It was so wet. It was so tricky. People's grip was already compromised coming in. Their hands were wet that it led to some issues. Now, most of these racers have had the opportunity to go through and test it out once already. They all should have a strategy coming in now. And it'll be interesting to see how many of them can use that strategy, enact that strategy with the higher heart rate that's going to come into play being the Savage Blitz format. Again, yesterday was over an hour race for a lot of the competitors. Today is going to be just about half that. It's a shorter race. It's only 3 miles. You still hit the vast majority of the obstacles. And so heart rate's going to be higher. You just have to work harder in between. It's going to take obstacles that people already have seen and make them tougher. So I'm excited to see if we see athletes take chances on the obstacles today or if we just play them safe. Waiting to hear for news from Dade City. If you have any comments, send them over. We got time to kill. Let's treat this like a mini Q&A session on the podcast here. Let's do an episode. Send some questions over. I'll answer them while we wait for the live feed from Dade City, Florida to come on up. Well, Eric, thanks for the support. You can come back and rewatch this later. Hey, having Matt on was an honor. He's a legend in the sport, a fantastic author. If anyone out there has not read anything by Matt Fitzgerald, definitely go ahead and read it. Got just sitting in front of me here. I've got his Racing Weight book. Weight is a tough, tricky issue in the sport of running and with humans in general. He tackles it in a good way in this book. Let's see what else we have here. The Comeback Quotient. This is one of his newer books. This is one I am currently reading as I'm coming off injury and in need of a little bit of reminder that it can still be done. We have Molly Seidel here on the cover, who is our top marathoner in the U.S. right now, who has come back from some pretty serious things. So another awesome book to read. 80-20 running. If you haven't read that, go ahead and get that book. It's fantastic. It is everything the runner should know or coach on how to become a good runner and a good racer. Outside of that, he has a ton of them. Probably the next one you should read is How Bad Do You Want It? So that if it's a mindset book, it's about, between the ears, everything that happens up there really controls everything you do as an athlete. So again, Eric, thanks for the comment. Thanks for listening to the episode on Matt Fitzgerald. We are still waiting for the live feed to come in from Florida. So we're just doing a quick little Q&A here, answer session. See what we have here. Am I defending my title at ASR in January? I am not sure that username, Tibio, but he's got a Rise of Skywalker in the background. Well, ASR is the Abominable Snow Race. That is a Wisconsin obstacle race in winter in January. And yes, I will absolutely be defending my title there. TBIOL. Maybe that's bio. Maybe he's a biology teacher. My intent is to be at that race, to be healthy, and to win it convincingly. Now, all you can do is show up fit, right? If you show up only to win, you set yourself up for disappointment. Of course I'm showing up. I don't show up intending to lose. We'll say that. Predictions for today. Well, my hope, let's just say that everyone comes back from tomorrow. if everyone comes back from tomorrow, and we have a few more people tuning in, so I'm just going to repeat. We are waiting for the live feed to go on today from Florida down in Dade City. We have people setting up cameras and getting the course ready. Hopefully that goes live. At that point, we'll have coverage here. We have a comment saying that Facebook Live has the males race going. So apparently the race is going, but it's not using this link. So I'll give them a few more minutes and then we'll do what we have to do. So we're doing a little Q&A session here while they figure this out. Predictions for today. If everyone shows up, I mean, this is Alvaro's race to lose. He was winning yesterday. He ran into issues out on course. I believe if Sean's not racing, Alvaro's the fastest person there. And even if Sean Roberts is racing, Alvaro might be the fastest trail runner there. So we'll see what happens. On the women's side, if Chris Roglowski races, I mean, this is her world. We're just living in it. If not, there are probably a dozen women who could all take this. I can't even call it. But let's go with Rachel Waters if she's going. Next question from Davis B. Dat B. Mavis. Which shoes would you use on this venue? Florida's flat. The grass there is wet and soft. Cushioning is not going to be an issue. I'm going with the lightest shoe possible that has grip and lockdown. Possibly this over this shoulder, this Hoka right here. Hoka Evo Jaws might be my choice. Otherwise, this IROC from VJ has all the grip you could ever want and retains really no weight in water. So probably one of those two is what I'm using. But this Innovate X Talon right here would also be a fantastic choice. Nick Riker's here. Nick, thank you. Nick, get on the horn to Savage. Let them know we got to get this link up and live so we can give the people their race. Yaslimar Gutierrez, go to Facebook Live. There is the males race. Well, unfortunately, Facebook Live's got to come to me. They've got to use this link so that they can click or link their video to us. Again, while we're waiting for this link to work, while we're waiting for the race to go live, I'm fielding questions here. Send them over. Send them over. Now's your chance. I will answer live any question you might have. While we wait here, here are the results again from yesterday, just in case you missed them. And on the women's side, pure domination by Chris Roglowski. Nick Riker's here. And we all are here for it, Nick. Nick, I watched you the other day. I was watching the DECA competition where you took on Rich Ryan. You got out hot in that race. Your lunges were a thing of beauty, Nicholas. A thing of beauty. I'm going to have to get to one of those. I'd like to race you in that. And Nick, I hear we're going to be competing against each other. Here, Callie and I are going to take on you and Morgan to try to set that High Rocks co-ed doubles world record. January in Chicago. Navy Pier, ladies and gents. It's going to be a throwdown. Well, I am getting no updates here from Savage. I am not sure what's happening. It appears that on Facebook Live, the race is occurring. I might hop over there and ask to join the coverage. So if you tuned in here, thank you for tuning in. I am sorry that there is no coverage here. We'll try to figure out what's going on, but I'm going to jump over to Facebook Live and see if I can't get on the coverage there. I'm going to keep this up here just in case and jump over to Facebook as well. Bear with us, folks. Bear with us. I'll keep this stream on just in case something happens. I'm going to shift my other tab over here. Sure enough, it's going on live there. Interesting. I wonder what our holdup is here. Well, ladies and gents, this just isn't working. I'm going to sign off. Go move over to Facebook Live. Nick, last question. All right. Who would you want for your 4x4 team of only OCR athletes? Listen, if you answer that question with anything other than the bullet train, you're wrong. You got to start with the bullet train. Then I would have Darren Robinson. There's a blast from the past for you. Google him, figure out who Darren Robinson is. On top of that, I am going to take. Well, we know Sean Roberts has wheels, so let's grab him. He's on the race today. And then who do we have with a legitimate track? I'm going to take Lee Earl Rugland. That man was 47 or so back in the day. He's Masters Division now, but I still take him over any of these whippersnappers. So, ladies and gents, that's it. I'm logging off. I'm going to end this. The stream's not happening, but it is on Facebook Live. Get on over to Facebook Live, give it a view, and you just won't hear my sultry voice. Oh, my goodness. Last one. We got another one. Question. I play men's league hockey Thursday nights. It's fast, 45 seconds on, 45 seconds rest for 1 hour. Can I substitute it for a hard day? Eric, you absolutely can. The issue you'll run into is at what point of the season are you doing this and how much benefit are you getting from it? If it were me, and this has been me except with men's league basketball, I would get done with that, throw on my running shoes, and tempo home. That's something I've done in the past. Macaulay and I have done that. The other thing we've done is we have driven straight home from the game and moved right into some sort of threshold work on the treadmill, even just like a 2-mile tempo at the end of that. We've done treadmill challenge, 15 minutes at 15% incline at anywhere between 90 and 100%, done some 80% work right after a game. So you get that fast twitch, stop, go, stop, go, stop, go. And then you get your sport specific running motion. Threshold work is safe to throw in at the end of competitions like that because it's not intense enough to really destroy you or to cause like muscular damage, but you still get a lot of bang for your buck out of it. And because you're doing it in an already fatigued, compromised state, you get even more bang for your buck. So that's what I would say, Eric. I would put it on a day. Let's say you already have a workout that day. Maybe you have 6 to 8 by 1,000 meters. I would do this hockey instead. And then at the end, maybe do 3 by 1,000 afterwards, or combine it into a 2-mile tempo afterwards. The other thing you can do is if hockey doesn't really matter as much to you, it's more about the fun than it is about dominating. You could always do a workout in the morning beforehand. But playing an explosive sport on fatigued legs can set yourself up for some issues. So maybe the best option is to do the afterwards work. Otherwise, the other option is, let's say you have what Kirk and I would talk about, that classic Tuesday, Saturday hard sessions with Thursday as a bit of a tweener or a medium long effort. I would say that I'd rearrange my schedule so that Thursday night hockey is that that medium effort. It's not a full-on quality day, but it's not. You can always hop on a spin bike or go for an easy jog after or in the morning, but you leave it as kind of a tweener. So one of those two is what I would do. I would either threshold afterwards, or I would do it as a tweener day. Good question, Eric. Good question. All right, I'll stick around one more minute, make sure there's no other questions. Then we'll wrap this baby up. Oh, not a problem. You're very welcome. I get it. That social mental needs of doing some rec league sports. I get it. That's why I play basketball leagues. Is it the best strategy for staying healthy as a runner? Probably not. All it takes is coming down on someone's ankle, or in your case, taking a high speed collision or a puck to the face or anything. But I always think of it as dynamic yoga. My body is at its best when I'm doing non-linear activities on top of running. Running is very linear, and I feel that I remain a little bit healthier when I can do my dynamic yoga, which is basketball. But at the same time, it's certainly not helping my recovery too much. But I get it. Sometimes you have to say, I'm not a professional athlete. I'm going to do what makes me happy. Well, we are 20 minutes into the race, which means that the men's race is nearing its completion. We have seen 0% of it. Rumor is it's going on live on Facebook right now without us. Head on over there, check it out, and we will see you next time. I believe this is the last Savage Race commentary of the year, so we are going out with a bang. This is one for the record books here today. And there's still 15 of you live watching this right now. Unbelievable. We appreciate the support. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. We apologize for the technical difficulties, and head over to Facebook Live. Check it out. I'm going there now to watch the rest of it. Enjoy your weekends. I'm going to head out to a local ski hill and get some reps in. It is currently, let's see here, 29 and sleeting. So enjoy your run. I'm going to enjoy mine. All right. See you next time, ladies and gents. See you for the next Savage Race series. Hopefully they have us back next year. I've enjoyed my time with you.